Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. In today's video, we're going to talk about a top interview questions that have been asked so far in 2024. So it's a collection of all the important questions are frequently, running around. So let us get started without wasting much time. If you're new to my channel, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. So let us get ahead. So the first question that is being frequently asked these days is, explain your dashboard in Tableau. So, we are seeing these questions asked many times by many interviewers in many rounds for multiple companies. So always, keep in mind, what or how was your Tableau design? I mean, dashboard design. What was the data source you have used? What kind of metrics you have created in your project, what was your layout, and what was the interactivity that you have created in your project or dashboard. So these are something that are very important for you to keep in mind whenever you are preparing for interviews, because there is a very high probability that interviewer might ask you to uh, talk about your data source, or talk about the design specification, or talk about any KPIs that you are trying to build in your dashboard and all. So for all of such questions, your project will hold the key. Okay, so if you are trying to keep one project in your resume, you know uh, decide what you will talk about that. What kind of a dashboard you have created? Is it a drill down dashboard? Is it a KPI dashboard? Is it a scorecard dashboard? Like that. Okay, so first you decide that. Based on that, you can then come to next question, like what are the data sources you have used. So the data source that I have used in my project might be different from what you have used. How are you going to answer that question? Like you'll say, I've used Snowflake or SQL Server or Teradata or Redshift, or you will say .csv. Up to you. Okay, but you need to be prepared for this question. Next is what kind of metrics you have created. Like say you have created a HR dashboard. Now, when he is asking what kind of metrics you have created, you need to have answer ready for that. So try to list down, the metrics that you have created, or create one and then write. Okay, so that is something that is important. Layout, like how have you, designed the layout for your dashboard? Like sometimes him, if because we are going in-person interview, he might ask you to draw and show the dashboard design. So what will you do in that situation if you don't have the answer ready? So for real-time experience people, they will have the dashboard design, but for others, try to have a design ready in your mind, just in case if he asks you, then you will be able to draw the dashboard right and then write it. Or he will tell you that create your dashboard using sample superstore right now. Then if you don't have a dashboard design, then it will cause a lot of issues for you. So what kind of interactivity you have created, like say parameters, filters, right? The control actions and all. So all of this will help dashboard to have interactivity. So this first question is very, very important. If you are able to successfully answer this type of questions in interview, he will further drill down. Otherwise, it will be very, evident or clear that, you are just faking in the interview, because these are the best ways to catch a candidate if he is real, genuine, or he's just trying to mock up with some dummy information. So I don't want you guys to fail in such questions. If you need help in this, you can reach out to me. I'll try to help as much as I can. Next is, how do you use Tableau to identify trends in data? So now when we say trend in data, we can always say we can use time series analysis, right? That can help us in identifying how where our data trends. We can also use geographical trends to find out how geographically we are using or the data of the trend is. like that. Okay, so you can talk about this whenever he's trying to tell data trends. Trend itself means time series analysis, remember that. Okay, so we need to have a date filter, and then how are you going to use. Okay, so it can be a time series analysis, it can be a geographical analysis, like that. Okay, so try to prepare answer for this. Now, what are the different data sources you have used in Tableau? Now, interviewer might look for a candidate who is versatile in nature, so he is aware of different data sources available, different data limitations we have available, like that. So try to expose yourself for this question. Like say you can talk about, what are the different data sources you have used in your project or your previous project. It's not like, we will always use a .csv, or we will always use a data source like say SQL Server or Snowflake. For some ad hoc requests you might create uh, a report or a dashboard using .csv files. For some dashboards, you might use an Excel report. For some, you might use a regular database to connect and build a view. Now, how next? So keep all of this in mind and talk about that. Like say for just write it out for reference. Data sources, like say Snowflake, SQL Server, Redshift, Teradata, or .csv files, Excel files, etc. So the more you know, the better it is. Okay, because we want to know candidates who know how to connect to different data sources and work with them. So how do you optimize the performance of Tableau workbook? So here we need to follow the standard procedure that is there, uh, or that is recommended by Tableau. Like say, limiting your data, removing or filtering out unnecessary calculated fields, you know, uh, deleting unwanted worksheets, and also using Tableau performance recording to identify the bottlenecks in the dashboard. So using that also you can identify what are the bottlenecks are where the problem is, and basing on that you can take action. So these are some of the steps. I'm not talking about in detail. So in detail, if you need, it will become a lengthy video. So I'm just cut starting it. But you can always talk on this lines if at all, he is asking you about the performance or optimization of a Tableau workbook. So this is one common scenario that you might see in real time as well. And this comes after your dashboard is created. So you need to know answer for that. So next is how do you handle null and zero values in Tableau visualization. So this is something that is very important from real-time perspective or real-time working perspective. So when you are writing calculated fields, okay, so we always need to handle or write a code in a way that we are able to handle every exception that might come in. So one such is, what or how will you handle when you are getting nulls or zero. So we have if null or is null or zn kind of a calculations or functions available in Tableau that we can use, to effectively handle our nulls, zeros, and blank values. Okay, so you can talk about this type of functions if at all he is asking you. Always try to use this in your calculations when you are writing it, so that it can you know uh, replace your nulls with whatever the value that you want, or replace your blanks or and all like that. Next, one common question that I have seen asked many times is difference between dual access and blended access. Okay, now when I go to Tableau here, when I have, like say I'm taking subcategory here, okay, and I am taking my sales. So this is my one axis for my one measure, right? Now, if I try to bring in a profit also to my view, so this is becoming, a separate axis for profit. Now we have two axes here, one for profit and one for sales. So two different axes for two different measures. Now, how you are going to play with this two axes is what will define about dual axis and blended axis. Now say if I click on this second measure and I'll have a concept called as a dual axis. When I do that, you will get two different axes. See here on the top it is about profit, on the at the bottom it is about sales, which means two different axes for two different measures. So this is the concept of a dual axis that we can leverage when you are playing with multiple measures. But say blended axis is not about that. Blended axis means having a single column, sorry, having a single axis. Now just drop that on the axis here. Now here, let me just, I'm just taking profit and I'm just dropping it on the axis. Now here you see you do not have two axes. It is simple one axis showing the values of two different measures, unlike the other one. So this is your blended axis. So he might ask you, what are the steps to create blended axis? What is the difference between dual axis and blended axis? When will you go for dual axis or blended axis kind of things? So all of such things you can talk about. How we have created a dual axis and blended axis right now. Okay, so if you want to create a side by side bar chart, and also we'll go over the blended axis. And if you are trying to create a custom chart or leverage your dual axis concept by creating some advanced chart, like say lollipop chart is there, rounded bar chart is there, like that. So in all of such a situation, so you can go for a dual axis concept and leverage that. Okay, so that is one thing that we can always use. So next is what is difference between rank and index. So this is again very important. I think this was asked many times in 2024. Index is simple numbering of your rows in data. So here if suppose I have I'll just remove this. Okay, I will not even add my measure. Okay, or I'll just make my this one. Okay, so now you see here this is data is not sorted, right? So if I just try to create a calculated field on index, it is simply a number here. Okay, so it is simply a number irrespective of what my order is. If I am just writing and making it discrete here, it is simply you know giving me or returning me the number of rows that are available in the data. Now see here for 41 it is 1, for 18 it is 2, for 6 it is 3. But now if I try to sort it, again it is changed. It is not like it is specific to some number, and also that is index. And that is what is difference between index and rank. Rank will always be based on the value of the measure that you are trying to specify, like say rank for profit. Okay, so I'm ranking rank of sum of profit. How do you want that? So is it ascending, descending, whatever? I can write it here. So I can simply drag and drop it here. So it will give rank for my values. Now you sort it or you don't sort it, your value or the rank will always remain same for this. Like say for 56,000, irrespective of your sort order, it will be one only. Like say if I just try to do sort, this index is still 1 to 7, but you see here my 56 is still being one only. So that is the difference here. Okay, and you can always talk about different types of rank functions that are available. I think I have created a dedicated video on this. You can definitely watch that. It will help you in from real-time perspective also, and from interview perspective also. This two questions are very important. Next is, in Tableau, what are aggregations and disaggregations? Now, many times when I have taken interview, I have seen candidates, they are unable to answer this kind of question. What is difference between aggregation and disaggregation of data? So aggregation means what? So we have sum, we have max, we have average and all. So for a given data point, like say for tables, all the sales that we have under this subcategory called and under this tables, they will all sum up and give us a total value called as 13,895 or whatever. Okay, so that is your aggregated value. Let's say, but if at all you want to find out each sale, like say for tables we got some 2 lakh 8, how are we getting it? Now if I try to split it against my order date, you will know how much each order has given me the sales. Now for tables, these are my individual orders, right? So again, these individual orders might be on a different date, and also you are trying to go down at a detail level. So this is when it is changing. But when you're trying to show it at a subcategory level, you are aggregating all such information. That is your aggregated data. Disaggregation means individual data points. So that difference you need to understand, how it is working. Like say here, if I go, so for like say for category, I have three sales, 100 and 100 and 200. So if I say sum of category, or if I'm aggregating my category, so I'll get a total sales of 400. Whereas if I try to disaggregate, I'll get all these three different data points. Okay, so you need to talk about that. Next is what is a KPI. Now, when I ask or when we get this type of question, many confused us at like what is KPI actually. Okay, so by full form, if I talk, KPI means key performance indicator we call. So key performance indicator means it can be any calculated field that you have created, or any metric that you have created which is giving you some insights, like say your total sales for a specific period, if is one type of metrics that you have created, right? You're trying to find out growth. Okay, that is also one KPI indicator that you have trying to create. Your percentage change from your previous year and current year, that is also one KPI indicator that you have created. So try to keep this kind of information in your mind whenever he's asking you about KPIs. Chances are high that he might ask you like what are the KPIs that you have created in your project. So when he is asking you such questions, try to remember the metrics that you have created in your project. It can be any calculated field. Okay. So now next is what are cycle fields in Tableau used for? So I think this is something new that I have seen. Tableau cycle fields. Now when you are using when you have multiple measures in your view, under analysis, if you go, you see you have an option called as a cycle fields. Okay, so I'm also trying to bring in profit here. Okay, now if I go to analysis, you will see cycle fields. I can swap. So just to swap or have a different views, we can use this cycle field option. Okay, so if I try to have a color on this, maybe I'll just use measure names and drop it on color. So for different measures I got, if I could do analysis, cycle fields, it is simply trying to reverse this one. Okay, so that is the option, but remember, you will get that option enabled only if you have multiple measures in the view. Now, what are the different types of joins available in Tableau? Now, I think this question everyone knows. Okay, so if I go to data source layer, here we have so this question related to joins and relationship is again very important. Many times we get these questions based on joins and relationships. Under joins, we have four types that a Tableau supports. Okay, if I try to bring in this simple drag and drop, so again, inner join, left join, right join, and full auto join. These are the four types of joins available. But always, try to have clarity on how you will get data when you are, joining data from multiple tables. Now there might be a question, why should I join here? So you can also use a custom SQL to bring in data from multiple tables, a better way of handling data. You can limit the data and all. So you can try to avoid joins as much as possible at the Tableau level. Try to leverage your data source, what you call your custom SQL, or you can do it at your source itself and create a view on top of it, and then bring in the data. So use your Tableau for reporting purpose, not for heavy data handling. So this is one thing that I would definitely say. So remember about this might be helpful, and again when you are doing so, your custom SQL might also be in the question when you are talking about joins. So here, because I have connected to sample superstore, I'm not saying the option of custom SQL, but in case you are connecting to a data source, you will see an option of custom SQL. You can use that and write your own query to handle data more effectively than this. Okay, so this is your joins and then relationships. So what is an extract and schedule in Tableau server? So extract means you are connecting to your copy of data that is taken at a particular point of time, like say at a 7:55 or 7:56, whatever the current time is. I am just trying to create an extract. Now at this point of time, whatever the data that I have in my source, Tableau has created a copy of that data and created one file. Okay, so that is your sample superstore extract. Now this extract, if I'm connecting, will become my extract, and if I publish it and schedule it to run or at a specific point of time, like say I want this extract to be refreshed every 1 hour, every 2 hours, or once in a day, then that is scheduling your extract. So that will, what will happen during that case, for every 1 hour or whatever the frequency that you have decided, Tableau will trigger the job again and it will recreate that extract based on how you are configuring. Again, all your incremental refresh, no, your top and rows. So all that type of options will come under this question. Okay, again, very important question. Next is what is difference between published data source and embedded data source? Again, this is very important, and I have seen many candidates getting confused with this question. Published data source means you are publishing a data source that is independent, so you can reuse that data source and create your workbook again. Whereas embedded means this is available only for that particular workbook, which is embedded in that workbook itself. That's why the name itself is embedded data source. Okay, so now you can publish a data source or you can embed a data source. It is option is up to you. But while publishing, like say if I go to Tableau here, under server, when I click on publish, you will have, once you connect here, you will have an option called as uh, embedded data source or published data source. So you can use that. I think that video is also available in our channel. You can go and watch that. Next is difference between joining and blending. Again, this question is asked many times, and this is kind of a repeated question, so I want you guys to prepare in what conditions you will go for join versus blend. So joining is simple, getting data from multiple tables. Okay, we all know. Next is blending means if you are getting data from different data sources. In that situations, you are getting or using blending concept. Now, instead of this standard answer, you can talk about what are the limitations we have with the blending. In what cases you should go. Like say the granularity of data is important when we are blending the data. When we are joining, we need to have at least one common column, like that. Okay, so all of such things you can talk about joining and in blending. Again, what are LOD expressions, how you have used it in your project? Again, this is very important, and I think this is asked many times in interview. So talk about different types of LODs. I think we have created one dedicated video that will definitely help you. How you have used LOD expressions in your project. We can talk about the fixed LOD, include, exclude, or a table scoped LOD. We can use LOD expressions on filter shelf. We can use LOD expressions to find, remove duplicates. So all of such things we can use LOD expressions. Okay, so we have seen use cases of that, many use cases. I think I have created 10 use cases for that, so you can talk about that. Next is how will you calculate top 5 and bottom 5 in the same way? Now I think if I ask you this question, majority will say that we can create a set for top 5, and again we can create another set for bottom 5, and then on top of this we will try to create a combined set, and then bring in the results. Like, right, this is one common answer that we try to answer. But I want you to think and see if you can do it from calculated perspective or calculated field perspective. Let me show you how I have created, just enough for reference purpose, maybe you can use. So what I have done is I have used the concept of rank here. Okay, I'm just bringing in customer name into my view, and I am just using a calculation something like this. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to find out rank of my sales in descending order, which is less than 5. And if it is less than 5, I'm calling it as top 5 rank. And same likewise, if rank of my sales in ascending order is again in less than 5, then I'm calling it as bottom 5. Simple. Okay, I'm categorizing my ranks in calculation page itself. Very effective way. And I'm just bringing this onto my view. And I'm selecting top 5 and bottom 5 because that is what we needed. Click. You got your top 5 and bottom 5 in the same view. If I sort it, this is how it looks. So this way also you can write it. Comment it if you know this or you have seen this for the first time. So that's it from my side in this video. I hope this video has helped you a lot. If it does, don't forget to give your comment and share it across your friends. See you in the next video. Till then, bye bye and have a good day.